In the cold black silence of space, something stirred. Far beyond the central systems of the Galactic Empire, past the organized trade routes and glowing starports, lay a stretch of nothingness called the Void Belt. Few traveled there. It was a graveyard of forgotten signals, drifting rock and dead satellites. No one paid attention to it anymore, until now. Inside a massive orbiting command station above the planet Geron 9, a warning light blinked red on the Imperial monitoring grid. A junior signal technician leaned forward, squinting at the data feed. "Unidentified pulse detected," she whispered to herself. "That can't be right." The pulse wasn't just strong, it was refined, sharp, and controlled. It didn't match any known Empire code, nor did it resemble old Earth patterns. It was something new, something silent and precise. The technician hesitated, then forwarded the signal to the upper command. Moments later, alarms echoed through the hallways of the control center. Lord Vector, Supreme Commander of the 9th Imperial Fleet, was in the middle of a strategy session when his comlink buzzed. Tall and skeletal, with deep blue skin and silver robes, Vector was a symbol of the Empire's cold order. He hated interruptions. "What is it now?" he snapped. "Unidentified high-energy pulse detected in the Void Belt," came the nervous voice of a comms officer. "We believe it may be artificial." Vector narrowed his eyes. "Pirates, too clean, too focused." Then a rebel probe, no known signatures. "This one feels different." The room fell silent. The Empire hadn't had a true unknown in decades. Everything in the galaxy was categorized, watched, and labeled. This was not normal. Vector exhaled slowly. "Ready a scout group. I'll lead them myself. Let's remind the shadows who controls the stars." Meanwhile, on the far side of the galaxy, deep inside a massive stealth hangar carved into a moon orbiting Saturn, a man stood silently at the observation deck. Commander Jackson Morrow stared into the darkness, his arms crossed, his jaw set firm. His reflection shimmered off the glass. A man in his mid-30s, lean, broad-shouldered, with sharp grey eyes that had seen too much and trusted too little. Behind him, the crew of the Oblivion Dawn made final checks. The ship didn't hum like most cruisers. It was quiet, deadly, and precise. Sleek black armor wrapped its hull, hiding advanced stealth drives, next-gen weapons, and Earth's most advanced AI system. Jackson's second-in-command, Lieutenant Ari Chen, approached with a data pad. "Commander, confirmed signal. The Empire has noticed us." Jackson nodded. "Right on time." Chen hesitated. "Are we ready for this?" Jackson turned to her. His voice was calm. "We didn't stay hidden for 100 years just to run. When someone finally looks our way, we show them who we are. On our terms." Chen gave a slight smile. "Then let's wake the beast." Hours later, Vector's fleet of 12 ships entered the edge of the Void Belt. They moved cautiously, sensors sweeping the black. Static, more static. Then something. "Contact," a tactical officer said. "One vessel, unknown class, dead center of the field. Visuals," Vector ordered. The screen blinked, then cleared. Floating in the void, a single warship faced them. No Empire markings, no visible weapons, smooth, silent, and ominous. The bridge fell completely quiet. "That can't be human," someone whispered. Vector's face twisted. "Humans, they're primitives. That's a shadow shell, some cloaked rebel tech." "No, sir," another officer said quietly. "That's Earth-built metal. But the design, we've never seen anything like it." The bridge lights dimmed slightly. The mystery ship was powering up. On the Oblivion Dawn, Jackson stood in the command chair, calm as a frozen sea. Around him, his crew worked in silence. The ship's AI, a soft voice named Ore, spoke in his earpiece. "Targeting scans detected. Empire fleet at full alert." Jackson didn't blink. "Let them look." He opened a channel. "This is Commander Jackson Morrow of the Oblivion Dawn. You are entering restricted space. Turn back immediately." A pause. Then Vector's voice, sharp and proud, responded. "You are a relic from a dead world. This space belongs to the Empire. Power down and surrender. Jackson smiled faintly. We don't surrender anymore. Then, without warning, a low pulse of energy rippled from Oblivion Dawn. Empire sensors flickered. A scout frigate lost power and drifted sideways. No shots fired, just a message. In Vector's fleet, the tension broke into shouts and fear. Did they just? How did they? Impossible. Vector stared at the screen. His pride boiled. This was not what he expected. Earth was not supposed to be a threat. He leaned forward. Prepare weapons. We end this now. Far above the galaxy, where no sun shone, and only the cold watched, two ancient forces met for the first time in 100 years. One thought the past had stayed buried. The other had spent a century preparing to be reborn. The Oblivion Dawn drifted like a ghost in the darkness, silent and invisible. Its outer hull was coated in adaptive nanometal that bent light and radiation. Even the Empire's most advanced scanners struggled to find it. Inside the ship it was calm, almost too calm. The low hum of the life support systems was the only sound besides the soft footfalls of the crew. They moved with quiet purpose, trained for this exact moment, the moment Earth would finally show its hidden strength. Commander Jackson Morrow stood on the central bridge platform. Around him, holographic displays showed the movement of the Imperial fleet. 12 ships, varying classes. Armed and cautious, the enemy didn't know where to look. Not yet. Jackson's grey eyes stayed fixed on the tactical display. He didn't flinch, didn't blink. This was the moment they had prepared for all his life. Status? He asked calmly. Lieutenant Ari Chen, his second in command, tapped her console. We're invisible to their targeting systems. Passive scans only. Their formation is tight. No signs of retreat. Jackson nodded. That's good. They're scared, but not enough. Chen looked at him. Are we really going to reveal the ship, sir? He didn't answer right away. His mind drifted for a second back to Earth, back to the long years of secrecy and silence. When the world governments agreed to vanish from galactic politics, it was seen as cowardice, but it wasn't. It was strategy. While the Empire laughed, Earth had quietly evolved. We've waited long enough, Jackson said at last. They need to see what we've become. Years ago, when Earth realized it could not match the Empire in numbers, it chose a different path. Hidden research colonies were established beneath moons and inside asteroids. AI was developed beyond what any alien race could imagine. Warships were built in silence. Every mistake, every old defeat, became a lesson. And now here they were, face to face with the galaxy's oldest power. Alert, the ship's AI, ORA, announced softly. Imperial ship Bloodwing is attempting a wide-frequency scan. Intercepting. The bridge lights shifted as the AI responded with a burst of encrypted noise, scrambling the scan. They're getting nervous, Chen observed. They should be, Jackson said. Open a visual channel. The display flickered, and for a moment static danced across the screen. Then the image cleared. On the other end stood Lord Vekatar, tall and alien, with glowing eyes and a long ridged crest atop his head. He looked down at Jackson, visibly irritated. Identify yourself, Vekatar demanded. Commander Jackson Morrow, Earth Defense Fleet. Jackson replied evenly. You are trespassing in a protected zone. Withdraw your ships immediately. Vekatar let out a soft, amused laugh. Earth, the primitive world that begged us for survival a century ago. I see your species still suffers from delusions. Jackson's voice didn't change. Earth no longer begs. Vekatar sneered. I give you one chance to surrender. Power down that ship, or we will erase it from existence. Jackson leaned slightly forward. You don't even know what you're looking at, but you're about to find out. He ended the transmission. The ship's interior shifted into silent readiness. Blue lights dimmed. Weapon systems came online, but only in defensive mode. The crew took their stations with calm focus. Bring up the cloaking field to 30%, Jackson ordered. Just enough for them to see us. On the enemy radar, the ship suddenly became visible. Not fully, just a whisper of its shape. Enough to ignite panic. They've spotted us, Chen said. Partial visibility confirmed. Jackson didn't move. Good. Now let's show them what they've never seen. With a single command, the ship's energy core pulsed. In one burst, Oblivion Dawn sent out a low-frequency wave. It wasn't an attack. It was a demonstration. One of the Empire's frigates immediately lost engine control, spinning slowly. No damage, no fire, just silence, and the sudden realization that they were outmatched. Aboard the Imperial flagship, Vekatar's officers scrambled. "Sir, one of our ships has been disabled. No impact, no weapon trace. It just shut down." "Impossible," Vekatar roared. "How can a human ship do this?" But deep down, he felt something he hadn't in a long time. Fear. Back aboard the Oblivion Dawn, the crew watched the enemy ships fall back slightly. Unsure, Jackson spoke to them. His voice was calm but firm. "We are not here to start a war, but we will not run from one. The Empire thinks it owns the stars. They forgot what it means to earn that power." The crew listened in silence. "This is the first step. We don't fire unless fired upon. But if they come at us, we respond. Full force." Lieutenant Chen gave him a tight nod. "Yes, Commander." Around them the ship waited like a sleeping dragon, quiet, patient, deadly. In the distance the Empire struggled to decide what it had just seen. It was only the beginning. The stillness of space was deceptive. No sound traveled through the void, but tension pulsed like a silent storm. Two forces faced each other across the empty black, the old, proud ships of the Galactic Empire and the lone, untested human warship Oblivion Dawn. For the Empire, this was supposed to be a simple scan, a minor investigation. But what they had found was something else entirely, something they were not ready for. Inside the Empire's flagship, Lord Vektar paced the bridge. His sharp claws tapped against the metal floor as he studied the partial scan of the human ship. It didn't make sense. The ship was there, but not there. One moment it was visible, the next it faded into nothing. Its heat signature was unstable. Its energy readings were strange, fluctuating, unlike anything their sensors had ever recorded. His officers stood stiff, waiting for orders. "Do we have identification?" Vektar growled. "No, sir. No registry. No Empire codes. No known rebel patterns. But the design, our analysts believe it's human." "Human," Vektar hissed. "They couldn't build a decent shuttle the last time we checked. This must be a trick." An officer hesitated. "Sir, one of our ships was shut down without a hit. That level of control, it's not a trick. It's power." Vektar narrowed his glowing eyes. "Then we show them ours." Aboard the Oblivion Dawn, the crew was calm. No one shouted. No one panicked. Each officer worked in silence, trusting their commander and the ship. Years of hidden training had prepared them for this day. Commander Jackson Morrow stood at the center of the bridge, eyes on the enemy ships. He could feel the moment approaching. The Empire didn't understand what it was facing. Not yet. "AI status?" he asked quietly. "Aura," the ship's artificial intelligence, responded in a smooth voice. "Tactical systems standing by. Shield modulation at 95%. Weapons offline. The enemy is charging theirs. They'll test us first," Jackson said. "Let them." The screen flickered. An energy pulse was headed their way. "Here it comes," said Lieutenant Chen. The pulse wasn't powerful, more of a warning shot than an attack. It was meant to intimidate, but before it reached Oblivion Dawn, the ship shifted position. Without sound, without any visible propulsion, it vanished from its spot and reappeared a few hundred meters away. The shot missed completely. Inside the Empire's flagship, Vektar watched the event unfold on his screen. "What just happened?" he demanded. "Unknown," an officer replied. "They moved faster than any ship we've ever seen. No warp trail, no thrust signature." Vektar's face darkened. "They're mocking us." Back aboard Oblivion Dawn, Jackson remained calm. "Status on their fleet?" he asked. Chen tapped a few keys. "They're repositioning. Looks like a formation shift. More aggressive. They'll attack soon." Jackson nodded. "Open a channel. The main screen lit up again, revealing Lord Vector, eyes filled with contempt and confusion. "This is your final warning," Jackson said simply. "Withdraw your fleet. You don't give warnings to the Empire." Vector spat. "You obey." "No," Jackson replied. "Not anymore." Vector snarled and slammed his fist onto his command console. Fire. The Empire's ships lit up with power. Energy blasts shot across space, streaking toward Oblivion Dawn like angry comets. "Shields up," Jackson ordered. The ship's energy barrier shimmered to life, absorbing the hits. 1, 2, 5, then 10. The blast struck the shield, but none made it through. "Shields holding at 82%, Aura reported." "Return fire," Jackson said. "Minimal force, just enough to send a message." On the underside of Oblivion Dawn, 2 small plasma turrets activated. They fired single shots, sharp, clean, and controlled. The Empire's lead destroyer was hit once, its engines overloaded, shutting down instantly. The ship began to drift. Another ship was hit on its wing structure. No explosion, just a system failure. Its weapons went offline. Inside the Empire's command ship, panic spread. "They're disabling us one by one," an officer gasped, without even trying. "Recover, regroup," Vector barked, but it was too late. The Empire had shown its hand, and Earth had calmly responded with precision. On Oblivion Dawn, the crew watched the battle quiet down. The Empire's fleet didn't fire again. They were repositioning, confused and shaken. Jackson stepped forward, broadcast to their command ship. A few seconds passed, then the screen showed Vector again, his pride clearly wounded. "This is the last time I'll say it," Jackson said. "Earth is no longer weak. We don't want war, but we will not run from it. Leave now." Vector stared at him, silent, his fists clenched. Then the screen cut off. "He'll come back," Chen said quietly. Jackson nodded. "Yes, but next time he won't come alone." Around them the bridge lights returned to normal. The crew began minor repairs and system checks. No lives lost, no damage taken. Jackson exhaled slowly. This was only the beginning. The stars were still, but war stirred in their light. On the edge of the void belt, the Empire's once proud fleet hung in silent confusion. Ships that once ruled entire systems now floated damaged, powerless, or afraid to move. They had fired first and been humbled. Only one ship stood untouched, Oblivion Dawn, sleek, quiet, and calm, like a blade held against the galaxy's throat. Inside the Imperial flagship, Lord Vector stood motionless, eyes fixed on the dead screen. His command center was full of silence. Officers avoided his gaze. Everyone felt it, the fear, the uncertainty, the beginning of something they could not explain. He spoke at last, voice sharp as broken metal. "I want that ship destroyed." No one answered. "I gave an order." Still, silence. Finally, his strategy chief spoke up, careful and calm. "Commander, with respect, we've used nearly 40% of our fleet energy reserves. Their defenses are not just strong, they're smart. Every time we move, they react faster than our sensors can track." Vector turned slowly, eyes burning. "Are you saying we should retreat? From a human?" The officer's voice dropped. "I'm saying this ship is not normal." Back on Oblivion Dawn, the atmosphere was steady. No celebration, no fear. The crew worked like clockwork, running silent diagnostics, monitoring enemy ship movement, and watching Jackson for his next move. Commander Jackson Morrow stood on the bridge, arms crossed behind his back, staring at the main display. The Empire was pulling back, just a little, testing distance, trying to regroup. "They're not done," Jackson said. "Not yet." Lieutenant Ari Chen stepped beside him. "Should we press the advantage?" "No," he replied. "That's what they expect. Let them come to us again. Let them doubt." A soft chime echoed through the bridge. It was the AI ORA. "Commander, enemy ships are initiating encrypted communications with Central Empire Command. I have partial intercepts." "Let's hear it," Jackson said. The main screen blinked, showing fragments of intercepted transmissions. alien voices, translated into clean English by ORA's processors, unknown technology, impossible speeds, shields adapting. This cannot be Earth-built. Our pride is at risk. If word spreads, other systems may question our strength. Awaiting direct orders from the Core Council, Jackson raised an eyebrow. They're scared, he said quietly. They should be, Chen replied. Jackson turned to his crew. He didn't raise his voice, didn't make a speech. He simply spoke the truth. You've all trained for this moment, not to win, not to destroy, but to show them what Earth truly is. We left the stars in silence to become something more. Now the galaxy sees it. The crew stood straighter. Every one of them had grown up hearing stories of the old defeats, of Earth being mocked, ruled, controlled. But not anymore. We don't chase power, Jackson continued. We don't burn planets. We defend our own. If the Empire wants war, we're ready. But if they're willing to listen, we open that door too. Lieutenant Chen smiled slightly. You sound like a diplomat. I sound like a man who wants peace, but will fire back if peace is denied. On the Empire's flagship, Vector paced again. His claws left faint scratches on the floor. We strike again, he said. All ships, full spread. I want them buried in plasma. Sir, we could lose half the fleet, one officer said. Then lose them. We will not retreat from Earth. He slammed his hand down. Orders were sent. On Oblivion Dawn, alarms triggered. ORA's voice echoed calmly. Incoming coordinated multi-ship strike. Estimated impact in 18 seconds. Brace for evasive maneuver Omega-7, Jackson ordered. The ship responded instantly. Oblivion Dawn dove into the black, sliding through gaps between incoming fire with precision only an AI-human hybrid system could manage. The Empire's blasts lit the dark sky, ribbons of red, white and gold, burning through space, but they hit nothing. Oblivion Dawn reappeared behind the lead Empire cruiser. Locking weapons, Chen asked. Jackson nodded. Only disable. Plasma turrets glowed blue, then fired. 3 sharp bursts. In seconds the lead ship's engine failed. Another ship's communications went down. A third lost guidance controls and began spinning. The fleet froze. They couldn't win this fight. Inside the flagship, Vector's fury gave way to cold disbelief. He gripped the railing and stared at the screen. A single ship, he whispered. A human ship. Behind him, officers were quietly sending messages to other Empire branches. Others watched the feed of Oblivion Dawn in awe. The legend of the Empire had been shaken for the first time in 1,000 years. On Oblivion Dawn, Jackson gave a final order. Broadcast. Open channel. All ships. All frequencies. A moment passed, then the ship's signal pulsed outward like a wave. Across the fleet, across distant systems, and through back channels, one message played. This is Commander Jackson Morrow of Earth. We did not come to conquer. We do not seek war. But we are not weak, and we are no longer silent. We ask for peace, but we are prepared for anything. The message echoed through the stars. On distant colonies, aliens stopped and stared at their monitors. On trading outposts, old veterans blinked in disbelief. In Empire-controlled systems, officials began to whisper. Earth had returned, and it was stronger than ever. Back on the bridge, Jackson looked out the window. The Empire ships were no longer moving forward. They hovered in place, waiting, thinking. He turned to his crew. Now we wait for their answer. The message traveled faster than light. From the edge of the void belt, Earth's voice reached every corner of the galaxy. It bounced off deep space relays, pierced through military networks, and spilled into neutral zones. The Empire tried to block it, but it was too late. The words had already slipped through. This is Commander Jackson Morrow of Earth. We did not come to conquer. We do not seek war. But we are not weak, and we are no longer silent. We ask for peace, but we are prepared for anything. The galaxy listened. On the outer colony of Vos Kai, a mining world ruled by the Empire, workers paused in the tunnels. Dirty and exhausted, they stood in silence as the transmission played from their portable radios. Earth, one muttered. I thought they were extinct. No, they were waiting. A miner raised his head. For the first time in years, he smiled. In a floating marketplace above Nagos Prime, aliens of all species stopped bargaining. Screens across the station lit up with Jackson's face and voice. A merchant with silver skin leaned forward. They challenged the Empire, and won. Another merchant hissed back. No one does that. The first one whispered, until now. In the Empire's core worlds, the response was panic behind closed doors. Inside the Imperial Grand Hall, high-ranking officials gathered in an emergency session. Holographic images of Oblivion Dawn hovered above them. They debated in sharp voices, some furious, others afraid. "This is an act of rebellion," one shouted. "No," another countered. "This is something else. Earth isn't a child species anymore." A silence fell as one old admiral stood slowly. "If they have one ship like that, how many more do they have?" No one had an answer. On the flagship near the Void Belt, Lord Vector watched as his fleet slowly reorganized. His pride had taken a deep wound. He wanted to attack again, to crush the humans and erase this embarrassment. But something held him back now. Doubt. His second officer approached carefully. "Sir, new orders from the Core Council. They request a full report before further engagement." Vector clenched his jaw. "They're afraid. They are cautious," the officer replied. "The balance of power may have shifted." Vector said nothing, but inside he knew something had changed. The Empire's control, once solid as iron, now had a crack. Aboard the Oblivion Dawn, the bridge was calm. Commander Jackson Morrow stood at the main screen, arms crossed, watching a live feed of the galactic response. Reports came in from all directions. Civilian chatter, military scans, political noise. Everyone was talking about Earth. Jackson didn't smile, but there was a steady satisfaction in his eyes. Lieutenant Ari Chen approached with a tablet. "We've received over 100 pings from outer systems, non-Empire colonies, a few minor governments, all asking the same thing. Is Earth really back?" He took the tablet, scanned it, then handed it back. "Tell them yes, and tell them we're listening." Chen nodded. "And the Empire? They're hesitating. That's good. It means they're thinking." Later in the ship's lower deck, crew members gathered around a holographic projection of the transmission as it replayed. Some stood in awe, others sat quietly, processing what it meant. One young engineer whispered, "My grandfather used to tell stories about how Earth was humiliated, how the Empire made our people kneel. Now they were standing tall." Back on the bridge, Orai's soft voice chimed in. "Commander, long-range scans show 3 more Empire fleets adjusting position. They are not moving closer. Defensive posture only." Jackson looked at the stars ahead. His voice was low. "They're regrouping, recalculating." "Good, let them." Chen stepped up beside him. "Do you think they'll attack again?" Eventually, Jackson said, "The Empire doesn't forget, but they're not ready for us anymore. And the galaxy just saw that." He turned and walked to his command chair. "This was never about one ship. It's about what we've become, and what we won't be again." He sat quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Prep the message relay. We'll open secure channels to friendly systems. Let's see who's ready to talk." Far across the galaxy, in hidden rooms and quiet halls, leaders and rebels alike re-watched the footage. They studied Oblivion Dawn. They took note of Jackson Morrow's calm voice and Earth's firm stand. And for the first time in generations, they wondered, could the Empire fall? One message, one ship, one commander, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars were quiet now. Where energy blasts once flared and engines roared, there was only stillness. The Imperial fleet had pulled back from the edge of the Void Belt, retreating into a loose formation. They hadn't left, but they no longer moved forward. It was not a surrender. Not yet. But it wasn't victory either. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire had been challenged and had hesitated. Aboard the Oblivion Dawn, the crew worked in a steady rhythm. Systems were scanned, minor repairs completed, power rerouted. But beneath the surface, every soul on board knew they had done something bigger than a simple mission. They had made history. Commander Jackson Morrow stood in the observation deck, away from the bridge. He watched the Empire's fleet shift in the distance. Still there, still watching, but uncertain. He didn't smile. He rarely did, but his shoulders were relaxed now. His hands no longer clenched. Earth had spoken, and the galaxy had listened. Footsteps echoed behind him. Lieutenant Ari Chen joined him, handing him a datapad. "Latest report," she said. "Empire fleets near the core are still holding position. They're not moving against us yet, and 3 independent colonies have officially reached out for dialogue." Jackson read the data, nodding once. "That's faster than I expected." Chen looked out the glass. "You think they'll retaliate?" "They might," he said. "Not today. Maybe not even this year. But someday, the Empire doesn't forget. We embarrassed them. In front of everyone." Chen lowered her voice. "Do you regret it?" Jackson shook his head slowly. "No. They needed to be reminded that fear doesn't last forever." Back in the Empire's core, the ruling council held a private meeting behind layers of security and silence. Holoscreens flickered with images of Oblivion Dawn, recordings of the battle, and Jackson's broadcast. Some demanded retribution. Others demanded caution. In the end, no orders were given. The Empire would wait, watch, rebuild. But the seed of fear had been planted, and fear spreads faster than war. The next day, the Oblivion Dawn turned from the Void Belt and began its return to Earth-controlled space. It moved quietly, cloaked again, sliding through space like a ghost. No ships followed. No signals blocked its path. As they approached Lunar Base, Earth's outer defense hub, dozens of human ships shifted to escort position. Fighters, cruisers, even older vessels, all lined up, saluting their silent hero as it passed. In Lunar Base's main command center, officers watched the feed in stunned silence. Some clapped, others simply stared. "He did it," one whispered. "He actually did it." Inside the ship, the crew gathered in the central hall. Jackson stood at the front. He looked at each of them. Pilots, engineers, tacticians. They were tired but proud. None of them had expected to face the Empire's best and walk away unharmed. "You've all earned this," Jackson said quietly. "Not just today, but in the years leading to it. We trained in silence. We built in secret. And when the time came, we stood firm." He paused, then added, "Earth isn't hiding anymore. We're not asking for war, but we'll never bow again." There were no loud cheers, just quiet nods. It was enough. Later in his quarters, Jackson sat alone. The lights were dim. Outside his window, Earth grew closer, glowing blue and peaceful. He watched the planet turn slowly. The war hadn't started, but something else had. A shift, a change. He tapped a button on his console. A message began to record. "To the people of Earth, the Empire knows who we are now. The galaxy has seen our voice. We don't seek to rule, but we will no longer be ruled. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one we write together." He ended the recording and leaned back, and somewhere deep in space, unknown eyes watched the Earth ship return home. Eyes that had long waited for something to change. And now the galaxy was watching, because one warship, one voice had made them all stop and ask, what else is Earth hiding?